It's Lisa Guthrie. I'm on the bus, and it is headed towards 65th and Roosevelt. Whoops. Oh, sorry, I pushed it. I pulled it one early. I want 65th. Sorry.
Anybody else want this stop? Anyone?
And that's a big slaver area. This whole area is. You can get grabbed, threatened pretty easily. It's good to walk around with a camera. This is Seattle, Washington, and everybody is a cannibal zombie gang member. There's a cannibal zombie restaurant. It's Rain City Burgers. Thank you. I'm laughing because I slipped forward. Nice. It's good to be hearty, even if you're not. I'm actually ill. I have asthma, allergies, chemical sensitivities, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, messed up arms. Cop tried to break it because I wouldn't cook meth and be a prostitute. Victim, overt gang crime, last 14 years. There's some tagging, mostly bloods. What happens sometimes is when you have police, people like to start posturing as though they're police and try to drag you off. That one actually looks like he belongs in the coroner's van, actually. Dead body. Jeez. Don't put your arm out, you're ugly, and no one believes the boogeyman. Boogeyman. I think those are Zeta gang members. Some of the tagging in the dumpster is like, at least one was Zeta. Bum was muttering about my suitcase. These bums, actually one of them, there was another one at, it was white looking. It was a female. She came by to mutter that I was going to give up my backpack, and there were people excitedly talking about a backpack. A robbery in Washington, well, let's just put it this way. If you were on the target group, white, Semite, and warm-skinned European, or white, Semite, and warm-skinned European. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you or the victims. I'm laughing at my not being able to say something. I was distracted. I'm choking a bit with asthma. But anyway, so if you were on the target list, you would literally have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of morons watching you. And I've learned patterns. So I could sit somewhere and I could go to the Recovery Cafe. You don't have to be an addict to go there. And I'm not, or an alcoholic. And you could watch 10 people in cahoots stealing suitcases. He just started to turn around and talk. This thing is playing bills, and this is common in Washington. If people see a white looking with green eyes, even, boy, are you at Target. I've heard the word green eye, or the sentence green eyes is going to go into the wall. It's a devil. One too many times. And so you've got this theme of bums thinking they could punish white-looking Semites and warm-skinned Europeans. And they're devil worshippers and cannibals. They feel very powerful eating people, and you can't trust people with animals. Why? Because they'll run the same sort of animals over and over in order to kill animals. This thing's just signaled. Nobody wants you. Nobody likes you. You're ugly. And she's Asian street gang. This is probably Zeta. And blood. Woke up, everybody was a zombie gang member. Got some very dangerous morons that will walk by. So if you seem to sense that I express a lack of emotion, except for a temper, well, there's a reason for it. And I tend to enjoy mocking the cannibal zombies. I get a lot of laughter from that. You gotta, I'm a victim, so gotta get some sort of satisfaction somewhere.
Dude, while I got you, don't they know this is a bus lane?
You better give them a ticket.
Yeah.
They all think they can give tickets anyway. Everybody is psychotic, and they believe that they're officials. So if they have a dirty policeman friend, they then think that they can give people tickets and round them up and arrest them and commit them, etc. So sort of like a sham or facade state. Nothing is as it seems. We've got a perfectly lovely looking Indian bistro over there, a well-stocked bar. It was probably booming in the 90s. Not now. Why? Well, they ate a lot of their customers. So it's just a lot of these businesses now are set up for the purpose of grabbing people's identity, money, property. Identity leads to credit and money. So I never see a lot of people in that Indian bistro, but it was probably booming, like I said, in the 90s. Looks good to me, except I can't go there. Why? Cannibalism. So it doesn't look good to me. But if it were a restaurant that was normal and it was, just an Indian bistro with real Indian food, yeah. Perfect. I mean, if it weren't too expensive, obviously. I like Indian food. So, by the way, if you wonder what ethnicity I am, well, apparently, even though I'm on the target list, I'm at least an eighth to a quarter black. And some Native American, which I'm not interested in either ethnicity. Because they targeted white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans and white-looking. I'm not interested. Ever again. Done. And some of the biggest racists I've ever seen, including my own family, are, well, they are in the genocide. Not interested. Not even in another lifetime. It's done. And you see white in Washington, and it looks like it's flourishing. It's pretty sinister. It means they're in with the cannibal zombies and destroy their own kind. Hi, Mantha Ramp. Thank you. Getting out at Ribbon and Woodlawn. I'll ring the bell.
Next stop, Oswego Place, Northeast, Green Lake Parking Lot.
There were threats at Safeway and a creepy black Nazi male, very plain male, dressed in black, boogeyman. There was a female telling me I would give up my backpack and a couple others.
Next stop, Northeast Ravenna Boulevard and Northeast 68th Street.
And a female getting off the bus that was black-haired. Very plain, pudgy, a little shorter. She was sort of loosely based white with a olive complexion.
Woodlawn Avenue, Northeast.
Pleased. Thank you. I have to be careful with the dolly. Someone loaned it to me. this. Get the see who's behind me at all times. Take off hood time. Remember, I'm not an expert, but I do know that hoods reduce your ability to see in the peripheral, and sometimes even the front. Consult with your experts. That's a scary bank machine. Now, to make sure there's no one behind me, even if they look like they're carrying food, I don't like them behind me. There is no one to be trusted in Washington, even pudgy old men. They just referred to me as a native of porcelain. So, I've thus proved effectively, if you could hear it, that I am picked on for my complexion. There was a black Nazi named Booker from Wallingford Food Bank who thought he'd torture me for my complexion. Nobody is a hero in Washington, including the fire station guys, the firemen. They're not even zeros, they're negatives. They're so far into negativity. It's just incredible, incredibly sad. You do know what was in those food packets. Probably tortured animal. Or tortured person. So I don't eat meat. I can only stand fish every so often. I mean, I eat it often, but then it's like, oh, I can't do it for 3 days. And then I start passing out almost everywhere. I was a meat eater my whole life, including I had fibroid tumors apparently for a long time, not even knowing it. And I really needed iron, so I was a meat eater. Just have to overcome. It was sort of programmed in me, that raw, almost beef in the 60s. Ugh. I couldn't stand it when I was a kid. But then I became a meat eater. I liked chicken when I was a kid. I used to eat weird things, like a lot of bananas. Now this is dangerous back here. Ugly old man. That's dangerous. So I will tell you that I am going by the garbage. I'm actually talking to my online diary. Through the lobby with an axe, and he was talking to his possibly 12-foot tall invisible friend. So it's up to you. Is he insane or is he a Satanist? Lights don't mean a thing in a place like this. And now I didn't explain, but in areas of the building, there are places where people crawl up and you might even hear them. And they come up from green areas of the building. And I just heard before the door closed, the old man was talking about sex, or one of the other rapists was talking about sex online. The rapists, there is nobody that you'd have sex with in Washington. They are all grotesque. This is a corner unit, so any noises would be considered unusual. 207 usually has about 10 freaks in his apartment threatening me all night, including with ambushes, and they think they can safely kick the door down and then get to 207. Sorry, now you're going to see kind of a ramshackle place. There's no reason to keep anything here because they're just going to kick your door down and mutter threats all night. And it's actually been reported by someone on Periscope. Uh-oh. I knew that one. Oh, I thought my light was out. Apparently not. There's a bomb playing Hawk On, which is possibly a threat about an ugly indigent male from Roosevelt Self-Storage, and Hawk On will find himself arrested and committed online even. And remember, it's not normal to hear neighbor weirdos threatening you all night, but there will even be dirty cops that come to this building and get high. So let me give you the address in case anything ever happens to me and you want to report it. 505 Northeast 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98115. Got news for you though. You're gonna need to report it to a higher authority. Why? I'm telling you, these are all cannibal zombies. They're gone. They're lunatics. Even the FBI is gone. And it's one vast conspiracy theory of morons. There is nobody left. And what am I doing? Well, I don't recommend this. What am I doing? I'm looking in the closet. There's no one in this closet. I want you to know this is significant. Why? Whoops. Now that's me. It's significant because this is a hot spot where morons climb up. And they've set the alarm off. Also, there are trap doors. Note the lack of anything valuable. Why? If your door is going to get kicked down by a lunatic, why tempt them? Why put yourself out there? And also, these are cannibal zombies. They will break in your apartment while you're gone and touch everything. So I don't keep any pots and pans or any plates or anything else. Why? Well, first of all, cannibal zombies, touching, infesting. They might even cook up drugs with your own pots and pans or a hand of someone or a head or a tortured animal. So you're not going to want to worry about any kind of cookery. Not in a situation like this. And I can hear a prostitute in an area. See, there's a hot spot of, it's an S shape like a train. So it's here, then into the closet, there's a car driving by, and it's a dark sort of station wagon, a nicer, newer one, big. So then, and my light's out in here, I need to get something to stand on at least. Might get a rickety chair just so I can change the light. But which I don't recommend doing, you know. So obviously that's not a safe practice, standing on a stupid chair. So then you've got here where there's no windows, and this is along I-5. And so here's the neighborhood set up, and I keep nothing in this room. And there's a whore yapping, fed them. You don't even want to know or argue or engage with them. Now, I have a temper, and I'll tell them to F off or whatever. But no, the whore yapping in that area is not yapping in a legal area. It's illegal. And they will torture people and animals. Now, I'll tell you who I hear so you can start your terrorist list, which is available all over online, on Post, etc. So you've got Kathy Cox here. Oh, it does. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. That is kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. One of the most important things for me to do is to set up my phones and my chargers. Remember, I live like I am a homeless person, so that I don't have to deal with the smells of blood and the sacrifices that go on in here, because they are Satanists, and you can smell what they're doing, you can hear it. And remember, I'm not evil. I can't saw through a wall to stop. And they like to pretend I'm involved with them. There was a female in blue at 65th and Roosevelt today. She was telling me that I was going to say that she fed him and I beat him. So these bums will try to implicate you. So let's start who's here now. You've got at least 8 morons from Elizabeth Gregory home. You've got a retarded male that is an ex-security guard from the Pike Place Market with a high squeaky voice. He likes to fool around with Officer Bobby of the West Precinct. He's got a high little voice, is about 5'8". Now, some of these bums are really out of hand also. Why? Well, the dirty police officers let them do this. The dirty FBI, the dirty whomever let them do it. So what am I doing now? Just also doing sort of a security for me. Speaking of security. So I am putting in my door stick. This is a master door stick. It irritates me because you cannot lose the little key. And if it falls out, well, it doesn't work as well. And also, after a few tries at it, you can actually have a broken door stick. It bends in the middle inconveniently. What am I doing now? I'm pounding in the door stick with a rubber mallet. Why? Well, I'm doing minimum of damage to the door stick and its base. I found that if I kick the door stick, I rip up my boots also. So, and I don't want to damage the door by giving it a good clobbering with a hammer, which would bend the metal and then bust into the door. The idea is to not destroy the premises, but to protect oneself. And it's not a good idea to destroy one's shoes, obviously. So a rubber mallet on something touchy, I find that those are wonderful inventions, and mine's from the dollar store. There's a bum yapping about rape. These things will rape you. You will be injected, I'm not threatening you, while you're sleeping. But what they really want you to do is agree to being raped and tortured and walk off with them, so that you're conscious and aware also. And remember, these are ugly males that nobody wants. And remember, the boogeymen need to be taken to the mental hospital for even thinking they could have someone fooled into, like, it looks like they're willingly going off with those people as a perk. So remember, not even a woman scarred by glass will go off with these males. And that leads me to another topic, kind of a segue, sort of the same subject, but a little subtitle goes on here. And what would that be? Well, one of the ways that these boogeymen will drag one off is to portray themselves as in a relationship with the victim. And all one has to do is look at Washington's mails and figure it out. There's nobody to walk off with. Why? Well, they also targeted pretty, nice, normal. What am I doing now? Taking out phones, taking out chargers. And I've got one on charge. I try to keep making charges. It's been hard with those other older phones, and I got tired of picking them to pieces, trying to figure out what was wrong. You can only take an old, crappy phone so far. It wasn't really that crappy, but it wasn't even worth the deductible. So, anyway. So I'm getting chargers, and we'll be plugging in phones. So I'm going to plug in this phone. You might hear it clatter, but the cheap phone apparently has okay glass. It's crack resistant, and I'm clanging on my heater, in case you're wondering about that noise. Don't need the heater on yet. I tend to, it's like Mr. Rogers in Cannibal Zombie World. Oh, sorry if I mentioned copyright. But, you know, taking on and off the jackets is what I meant. And he was very good at it, I will admit. Okay, so, it's a good show. Nice, because he was a minister, too. Now, so I'm going to get to my plugins, and I want to make sure that they are the right plugins. Then I can preserve my phones longer. And oops, they all look alike. Oops. I should mark them. That would be good to mark them. And you know what else I'm going to do? I am going to mark them. Too bad I don't have nail polish, but there's nothing feminine in my life left. I am getting scarred, and there's no reason to be feminine. I just don't do any of that feminine stuff. I wasn't really into nail painting anyway. My nails, I never had the patience. They were usually a mess. I wasn't the best at it, and I wasn't patient enough to sit there. And now my nails are so ripped up. I should show you my nails. Ugh. And if it's not glass from the storage, is a popular thing, or tying my rugged shoes, and look at the floor, it's muddy. But you know what? I was coming out of here gagging on the smell of blood this morning from 207, and they were sacrificing animals and people. And I was choking, and there was a smell of urine, and worse. I mean, not worse, but the blood, and then another bodily substance. These are Satanists. And so I don't worry about my floor. I practically fled. I didn't even care if there was coffee spilling. I frankly just didn't care. I just wanted to get the hell out, and I couldn't breathe in here. It's also not healthy because of the drug smells. So what am I doing now? I'm just taking my phones off of my travel charger, and I will be plugging in. And I'm going to be wiping services because if you're on the list of genocide, it's a guarantee that your apartment or home would be entered many times. Even by keying, not just trap doors. I mean, obviously that leads to the situation, but trap doors and things like that. Or people chopping through the walls. People are so insane, and they prove over and over in Washington they don't need any housing. It's just going to be used for cannibal zombie practices now that take people's identity, their money, and their property. So what am I doing? I'm just, it doesn't smell like blood and guts in here, so I'm taking my shopping out. And I might at some point have a little dinner. I might not. I might have a spoonful of peanut butter. I'm not worried about it. I did have snacks earlier. I had some juice, a little coffee, and milk. There's some protein in the milk. I don't eat meat. And I had fish. Oh no, not fish. I didn't mention I had a little cheese. Cheese and chips and little chocolate bars. I tend to be pretty modest in my eating at times, and I don't worry too much. And believe me, I get threatened for eating. This is part of the genocide. These bums starved people and tried to force them into cannibalism. One of the bums that's also here, he is a terrorist. He is a whiny, nasty, ugly, black male Nazi from Aurora, DSC. He has AIDS, and one of his favorite things to do is to rape women, and probably males too, and give them AIDS while they're knocked down or sleeping. He is ugly, he is repulsive, he whines, and there are not many people that would want that thing, quite frankly. And it is a thing. These are all cannibal zombie things. He's hideously repulsive. He does live near the second floor and the laundry room at Aurora, DSC. He is a head injury, and from what I hear, he slobbers on his victims, including the children. He is your quintessential monster. He is beyond Pennywise. He is repulsive, but so is every male in Washington. And what am I doing? I am wiping surfaces I will be touching. And I will state also, keying goes on, even at the storage. And for example, here though, first week I was here, the door was standing open. What else has happened? First month I was here, somebody evidently had cooked with meat grease. There's meat grease on stove pans. And you can smell the meat grease. Now, the guy who, quote, turned over the apartment wasn't very bright or very smart and very talented, which is a symptom of Washington. He's a thug. But he did, I believe, give me clean stove pans. The rest of the apartment was pretty dirty, including dirty outlets. I believe that they did give clean stove pans. So, it's not to suggest, though, that he's innocent about the key. You heard a clunk. I was just sort of testing with one leg my boxes. I have 2 plastic boxes, and I was thinking, could I stand on that? Let's put it this way. I wouldn't let people deliver new chairs that were the actual chairs broke down. It's just not a nice enough place. There's a bum playing Rootbeard, and he is talking about a practice of the gang members. What is it? It's called Rootbeard. It's a form of glass. And so there is a bum threatening me about root beering. Let's show him his ancestors. And so these retardos think that you're just going to let them break in and do whatever they want. So retardo moron wants to go to prison. And it could be retardo Greg Kinzel, brother of Eric Andre Kinzel. Yet another terrorist for your list. He's making threats, and I could hear him in the dark green areas of the building. Eric Andre Kinzel's brother, Greg Kinzel, is threatening, including the neighborhood. Remember, he's a crip. Now what am I doing? I'm plugging in batteries. Remember, these are ugly retardos, and they will threaten you that you're going, and they'll also come in, and they are ugly people, and one of their biggest goals seems to be to make people as ugly as they are. So the boogeyman also feels he can walk off with you better as you'd be a slave because you're ugly. He can also say that you're injecting heroin. You've got the heroin scars from the glass. It's actually glass. And Greg Kinzel, the terrorist, and the other morons are actually very much into that, including the ugly black Nazi from War on DSC and the other ugly maggots. There is one dirty cop here at least. It could be Officer Rob Howard of the Seattle North Precinct. So Officer Rob Howard is here. And Rob Howard and the other bums have been involved in the genocide, including to portray the victims as crazy or evil. And Rob Howard, by the way, I've talked about storerooms being very dangerous because people want your stuff. They also want all your identity. They also want something that's rented or owned under your name, so you can be blamed for crimes. They can also stage crimes against you. If you're happy in your home with your lamp and your whatever, and you're actually not, you're kidnapped. Now here's an ugly retard that has threatened me many times. It's dark, but there's the ugly retard now. He'll even climb up and hide in the closet. Suspiciously, even though he has a shower, he will take showers at the community center at Green Lake. It is probably to rape and drag off, at the very least, males or little boys. Or even stab them and the blood will just wash down the drain on this. And he's a kind of a fat ass. He dyes his hair blonde. And sometimes you can't figure out, it's like, is that his brother? I think he does have a brother that looks a little older. But the ugly things are both retarded and psychopath, so it doesn't even matter. It's both of them. One, because I see gray hair all the time, and then I'll see blonde hair. But they look alike, they're both ugly. They look like, they have kind of a funny look around their mouth like a caveman. They're not good looking. Remember, ugly weirdos, including my family, picked whom would look good, whom looked normal, and they're not. They're ugly freaks. And also, they kind of, well, what happened is anybody who irked them, like I said, if it was good looking or normal looking even, it irked them. And they killed it. And also, they lacked the discernment to tell people what's normal, quite frankly. So, you know, it lacks the discernment. So I'm setting up phones, etc. here. And surprised that ZTE is even, I don't know what it's doing, quite frankly. The bigger one, it's got an excellent camera, and it's a cheap phone. I like them, but this one has been terrible since the beginning. And it, you know, came in the mail. I paid a deductible. It was worth it instead of a new phone. But this is not a good. This one in particular, it's been touched. So I'm plugging in chargers, and it eats chargers. So it's actually eating chargers left and right. So there's something wrong with it. Doesn't matter what the charger is. It doesn't like it. It's going to eat it. It's going to eat it. And you have to tilt it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm tilting it 50 times. You know, to try to figure out the exact right angle to. Oh, and I found it, but it's in the air. Ooh, you hear that? It's the sweet spot for the L or the ZTE. But it's like, what am I supposed to do? Hold it in the air. Oops, I guess so. Oh, I hold it in the air. Yeah, it likes that. But then tilt it another way. Oh, hold it in the air. Stand there, hold it in the air. Stand there and hold it. Sometimes tilting it on the battery. Oh, there it went. Here it is. Oh no. Here comes the battery. I'll try, little phone. And just talking, it's down from 13% to 8. 13 to 8. Oh, no. Don't touch it. Do not touch it. Do not jar the cord. Some chargers out for it, resisting the urge to come near it. But I don't need all the cords out. And then the fun thing is, you have to charge, well, you have to keep, oh, there's cord to throw away, it's dangerous. And, things that don't work. Hold on to it and drag it around. So you have to change the cord every now and then with this thing too. There's a bum talking about the obligated Lisa. It's the high-voiced moron. These morons will try to obligate you to, quote, pay their bills, which is extortion and slavery. So you will not argue with them. You will just take off and call the police. Why will you not argue with them? Does it mean submitting? No. I'm telling you, I have a temper. I will insult them and scream at them. You don't want to do that. Why? Consult with the experts. It's highly dangerous. Just call the police. Get to a safe place, call the police. Don't do what I do, you know, because I tend to throw a fit. It's not good. I mean, every situation is different, and I'll tell you why I throw a fit. It's like that movie, Quigley, and or the heroine. She'd had her first baby, well, they were in, like, it's a cowboy in the West. It's a Western movie, but it's set in Australia. Her first baby, she smothered it during an Indian raid, Native American raid. And so she had to take care of a little baby that she and Quigley rescued, and it was, well, there were dingoes one night. And she told that baby, instead of smothering that one, and that was sort of the moment she healed, because she didn't smother that baby, trying to, get it to stop crying during a raid, but some dingoes came, and she let the baby cry, and she just shot all the dingoes. So that's my version of cry, baby, cry. You just cry. And so I like being loud, and I like disturbing the gang members and getting them noticed by other gang members. So that's my version of baby me. You just cry, baby. You just cry. I'm also the mad woman in the she was mad after all that trauma. She'd been sold into slavery by her husband because she'd accidentally killed the baby. Oops, I touched the stupid wood. So, cry, baby, cry. And, consult with the experts. There are times when you can be loud and it can save your life. And I'll tell you, the zombies are hypocrites. And so, you're going to find other zombies that don't like a certain gang member robbing people, especially if they're out on their Sunday picnic and pretending that they're nice people. So, a guy exposing himself and making a rape threat or touching his genitals might really set off a father who's actually a child molester. They're all child molesters and murderers in Washington. They're all Satanist devils. And now I can't get to the right game. So, I like to eat. And it's awfully hard then for a person who is victimizing me to pretend they're not after I've yelled out what they're doing. And they're going to react in a paranoid, freakish manner. And even if they try to pretend they're innocent, they're going to betray their hand, especially if I have them on the phone. Now, I will tell you, the bums like to chant repetitive crap in order so you don't know what's going on, and so they can scream out even a threat against you. So one of them is chanting the word Oldebug. He just chanted Oldebug. And it means rape. In this context, it means rape, but it doesn't always mean rape. They use it's an alternating code. So even, I've written down like different words before that they've used where you could just state they practically use every word they know. And it's pretty hard to keep a notebook under these kind of conditions. Especially all my notebooks were covered glass in the storage room. So a lot of information that eventually somebody could have used about gang members. It was lost because I'm not going to deal with a pile of glass and pay a couple $100 a month just so I can have some notebooks that are full of glass. So there's a lot of information left in the dumpster, but I'm not going to deal with glass on notebooks. And that happens with notebooks, when I leave anything in the storage, because they'll just give out your key everywhere. Also, the place is not secure. It's just a cage on top, mesh. And you've got indigents living there that can actually here and rolling for a food bank and people sneaking around in the walls. And so what you're going to get is nothing. There's a bum talking about draining. Remember, they're into blood and guts. And it's the ugly moron security guard, ex-security guard, the retard. So I'm still fiddling around with this right angle of this retarded charger. So obviously it's the phone because actually it happens with every charger. It's the phones. And as I'm talking, I can hear retardos chanting, and they'll chant and make threats the entire time. And it's 24/7, so you're going to want to get away from it, basically. You wouldn't want to hear it. It's chanting and threatening, evil threats, chants. Nobody wants to hear it, basically, if they're normal at all. Even if you I mean, nobody would want it. And it's the zombie thing is letting you know how crazy it is, basically. Randy Whittier might be here. It's a fat slob from Elizabeth Gregory. She looks like an old lady now. She's probably got about a year to live, according to intuition. I couldn't hear her note saying she probably has a year to live. You won't be around. You're a zombie. You don't have a spores. She's actually standing in the crawl space area. Yeah. You're not going to have enough. You're gone. Once you die, you're dead. And you don't want these zombie Satanist things. Even if we all had woken up from the dead, you didn't have to go to Satan, basically, and do animal and animal cruelty and torture people. So these zombies were dead 10 to 12 minutes. What am I doing? I'm just sweeping now. And I'm not doing anything except sweep. I'm not going to wash the floor except when there's an inspection. There's a bum. It's a retarded male. It's an ugly Indian male. He looks like a slug, and he is making an ironing board thread. And remember, these are slavers too. And remember, so what you have is a lot of welfare ass and welfare face, chronic 80 years of welfare morons that are making slavery threats and that have actually carried people off, including morons in my family. And you've got a pattern of retardos in low-income housing acting like they are some sort of big shot. And the thing is chanting about entering my room. Remember, he's an ugly boogeyman that nobody wants. There's not one woman who would want that thing, except another ugly boogeyman thing. There is nobody who would want him or like him. He is too ugly for anybody. He had an ugly partner. She looks like kind of a slug as well. That's about all who would want. She looked like a retarded slug. Kind of wide, like a couch. Nobody's going to walk off with these ugly freaks. And check it out. Like years of security cameras, someone walks off with someone. Well, the first thing these bums do is play, you're going to act natural. You're going to pretend to be my girlfriend. You're going to pretend I'm your friend. Even the boogeymen that are women play, you're going to pretend to be my friend. I think I'm going to have some salmon. There's a bum playing field team. And remember, he's talking like a big shot, but this is a 30% of your income building. He's actually going to have a little mental hospital action. And a little, maybe some SWAT team action that shoots him. Because I'm not going to listen to an ugly bitch. So he might have a little SWAT team action of his ex, basically. And remember, he's repulsive and ugly, and nobody should believe the boogeyman. He's hideous. There's no reason to believe something like him. Why would you? Little SWAT team action, though, somebody might believe him there and shoot him. That'd be good. He's a retarded. He has nothing to offer anybody either. And remember, these boogeymen don't know how ugly they are. So it's, I think mental hospitals need to start teaching these bums that they're ugly and nobody would want them. And that would actually protect a lot of women and children. And the ugly thing is making a starvation threat. And remember, you're going to see a lot of big fat asses that are eating constantly that threatened whites, Semites, and warm-skinned Europeans and actually torture them for eating and drinking water or other beverages. They kill them for their survival. And remember, he's a dog man. His DNA stinks. It's a poopy moron DNA, just like the rest of them. Just like even my hillbilly cousins. Poopy moron DNA. Welfare face, welfare ass. Got welfare ass, welfare face. You can't tell you can't tell those components, apart. They're ugly. They're hideous. They're absolutely hideous freaks. And one of them, the Indian guy's chanting, "Oh my God!" You can hear me. And so he's in shock. He's once again being told how ugly he is. Do you see how dangerous an ugly freak like that is? And why is he also flipping out? Well, I'll tell you what. These bums, once they've tortured and raped, for some reason, they seem to think they're godlike. The thing thinks it's godlike and pretty for drinking blood. Remember, Satanism, and it's the religion of the moron. It's evil moron. Still messing around with chargers. And I'm going to totally get rid of one phone. After what? Well, I'm going to take it back to factory settings. Let's see if I can get the thing charged. And then I could donate it into a box even. I could donate it even with the battery. I could get rid of the battery. It's the battery that's so toxic that you don't want to dump, especially near a water source. By the way, gang members will use batteries in people's water sources to poison them. Oh, and then there's a bum playing Belvas. They like to call the victims by certain names and even ethnicities. Why? Well, it's like burying the victims before they're actually killed. So, you know, you're a victim and nobody knows who you are and where you went. Why? You were Belgian. You were a Mexican. You were an Indian. Were you? No, they lied. They lied about your ethnicity. They like to move names even back and forth. So they'll call people by certain ethnicities and curse them, and even though they're Indian or Mexican, I know it's very illogical. But remember, they move, it's like an alternating code, but also it's a code that they use. They think they're cursing people or animals or other beings as well. They'll also call possessions or activities. So it's not just person, place, or thing. Remember, I like to say beings, things, and non-things. So why? Well, it seems logical because a deer is not a person. Person's not a person here. They're zombies. And remember, though, it's illegal to torture people and kill them for their possessions, their money, you know. And in Washington, some of the stuff is actually many generations of, quote, victim that weren't even victims. There's possibly a person in a chain, but I don't have a tier for her. And the most I can do, because remember, what am I going to do? Call the police that are in the wall, eating human legs, and sucking blood, and raping people? And cocking a gun at me and supplying their friends with guns? Am I supposed to drive a tank through the wall and rescue a zombie that was here to kill me and threaten me? You know. And I wouldn't do that anyway. I would do that for animals, but not for zombies. Now, when we say zombies, if they had not committed crimes against nature and mankind, and if they were not blasphemers, if they were truly nice people and not drinking blood or eating human flesh and torturing people, then that's a different zombie. That's a different zombie. Still not too happy with, you know, the zombie thing, but that's a different kind of zombie. So the most I hope for, basically, after living among zombies is, well, maybe there's some out there that aren't cannibals and drinking blood and raping people and torturing them. That's all I know. Or, you know, they're not playing constant curses and devilry. So, or any. By the way, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done as earth is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For thine is kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Now, last night, I will state that the bed underneath me started to jiggle. These bums will come up through the flooring, and it's actually been on YouTube where the floor was jiggling and the bed was shaking and my camera smashed down. Interesting. And there were clanging noises, and I actually got blamed by the manager, who's on crack and hysterical sometimes here. And he's a cannibal zombie, like they all are. He actually blamed me for the noise, and I don't think he was innocently blaming me. I think he was doing what cannibal zombies do. Big game of blaming the victim. I think he knew it wasn't me making the noises. So these bums will use trapdoors. They'll saw through walls. And remember, dirty officers are involved. The Seattle Police Department, they are all people in need of being rounded up and put in mental hospital, prison. And according to these zombie bums, they even have FBI. Like one of their uncles or something comes here. and they have FBI contacts. So I'm going to turn on TV shortly, in a little relief. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, your kingdom come, thy will be done as it is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. One of the bums is threatening to make me hold hands. These ugly zombie freaks want you to hold hands with utter scum, thus proving you're in a relationship with the bum. Remember, they're retardos. There's nobody to hold hands with in Washington. And those hands, that saying of where those hands have been, these are people that literally, without going into gruesome description, here comes another car. It's a black car with a sunroof. Older. It looks almost 90s, 2000. So, looks like a cheaper car. It's like a mid-range, cheapy. If that makes sense. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, where their hands have been. So these people have touched animal and people. You don't want their hands on you. Ironically, I've been gang raped by people that have snuck in and injected me, and my own family's involved. Which, ironically, they want to play family after all that. But I was a person who had grown to be, don't touch me, and I can't stand the human smell. And can you imagine being raped by bums? So there will never be a boyfriend who, quote, had sex with me on any video, or who tucked me in lovingly in my sleep, or touched me on video. There will never be a boyfriend. That was all rape. And there never will be a relative who tucked me in on video. It will be rape. So there is nobody out there who could even say that they weren't anything but a rapist. There's a car sitting there, and remember, when there are threats, and then there's a car sitting there, or lurking, well, one of your best bets, by the way, don't just try to record entrances and exits. That's an excellent idea right there. Try to record parking and traffic in your neighborhood, including if it's the old lady walking the dog who's creepy, looking up in your window, shaking her fist at you. She might not even be an old lady. A lot of the meth heads, they look like 70-year-old grandma and grandpa, and the gang members clean them up. They're actually 50-year-olds, 57, hardly older than I, but they look like old lady and old men because they've done heroin or something. So the gang members' goals have been to try to make themselves and others that are affiliated with them, including when the dirty cops do this, or even dirty psychiatrists or dirty whomever, they want their buddies. They want their little guerrilla armies, which it turns out that's what it is. They want their guerrilla armies to look as if they are respected. but you can pretty much see through the cannibal zombie gang member thing, especially even if it's dressed to the nines. And it starts chanting and doing something that zombies do. They start pointing when they see someone who looks white or shaking their fist. And uttering a threat in a code. Well, I always tell you this, but you can then get them arrested or committed. You can't get them arrested. Why? Because the code makes them sound like morons that can't speak English. It makes them sound psychotic. It makes them look psychic. And then coupled with the fact a lot of them will smell from victims, urine and fecal, captives, and also from carving people up, frankly, or animals. And that's not a nice way to put it. But from, harming people and animals, and they'll also smell of blood. And so they're going to stink, so you can get them committed for being smelly. And apparently they can't take care of themselves, and they're muttering insanely. And this includes dirty cops. So the smell, and quite frankly, a lot of the drug addicts are incontinent. They cannot, there's two meanings for that word, including an archaic meaning of sexually illicit or sexually amoral. But a lot of these bums cannot control their bowels or their bladder from apparent drug use. And they like to, quite frankly, they're Satanists, so they like to play with it. So they're going to play with these substances also because they like it. So, excuse me, the playing with bodily fluids, the smelling of bodily fluids, or reeking of bodily fluids, coupled with the gibberish, apparent nonsense they're uttering, and threatening behavior, you can absolutely commit them and get them into institutions. And then you might even find something popping up while they're in an institution that, yes, indeed, they were criminals and they did this, this, and that. And, hey, they're already locked up. It's not far to go. Whether it's a doctor or a dirty cop or just a welfare person. Oh, and I apologize. I didn't realize this camera had popped up. Because I usually have to wait. And so this is Lisa Guthrie. And oops, this is frozen anyway. So I'm going to have to make sure that filming isn't frozen. I think for these new phones, they're not, very expensive phones, but also there are some crucial updates that I'm working on. So I'm going to have another broadcast. Don't get jealous. I'm just kidding. But in a hot spot area of the front closet. And by the way, these things are so brash, and I've absolutely heard them, including people like Deborah Layton. She is a false official or false professional. She's a flunked out nurse from 1979. And she and her friends were planning to get, quote, masks. And there's a dirty doctor with no jurisdiction. He comes here, Dr. Jaffe, and he makes use of people like that. And false professionals as well, or professionals like she is, which isn't a professional. It's a false professional, yes, but also a flunked out professional. And they'll make usage of real professionals, is what I was going to say, that actually have no license to practice what they're doing. Like Dr. Larry Thomas. He comes here, and apparently he's big on identity theft and murder, rape, torture, ritualistic sacrifice, unfortunately, like the others. He was a chiropractor of mine 10 years ago. I've had several chiropractors. I'm not a well person. And he likes to play in sort of this guerrilla army, false professional system, where he and the others pretend that they could drag off people and commit or arrest them. And remember, he's nothing, and he has no power to drag off anybody and arrest them. And so you don't have to listen to people like that. Remember that. You never want to listen to them. Always question. If you don't think an authority has authority, you don't listen. So if you don't think the authority has authority, that's a good way to put it, isn't it? And I'm gonna let's see, I'm taking a can opener open, and I'm gonna have to set my alarm up higher to be able to eat. Even if you think it's a fake cop, it's like, wait a second, this cop has Nazi boots on. What's going on with this cop? They are not in Seattle Police Department, or obviously you might be somewhere else. And I will need some salmon or something. I feel my brain kind of going whack. And there's a whore threatening me already, and some bums yapping, and they sound like retarded jackals. And they'll also prove the existence of illegal surveillance. And it is not uncommon to hear shouting and thuds as I'm about to eat. And remember, the dirty police did this, and they will play the names, even profanely, I'll say, of death camps, and also of third world countries, or countries that are known for spying on people illegally, or even legally in their country. Remember, it's a bunch of bums here claiming to quote government. And it might be even a retarded bum who's been on Social Security for years. One of the bums just stated the walls might shake in. Where is the bum located? He's actually located in the bedroom. And remember, it's not legal, and he crawls up from the green area. And the dirty cops will pretend that you're hearing voices, and people coming in to kick your door, you're just paranoid. People injecting you. Dirty cops kill witnesses, destroy them, also by raping them and torturing them. So I'm going to look for a wipe, and I'm going to wipe off my can opener because it was, needs to. And I'm going to wipe off the can and my hands. There's a bum claim you stole all of our dinners. Now, this leads me to another belief system by the retarded cannibal zombies. And what is that? So the retarded cannibal zombies like to pretend many things, including that they're victims. So you're starving them even though there's no relationship. You ate all their chips. There's no more chips left. And because you ate chips, they'll never have chips again. See, does that sound like they're being logical or rational? Remember, these are retarded people. They're retarded and there's nothing left. They're not just retarded, they are psychotic. And even the dirty cops are hallucinatory. I've discussed some of the hallucinations by the dirty cops. And some, let's see, like one dirty cop claimed that I had made them into crudité. This was after much chanting crudité, yap, crudité. What did they mean by crudité? They thought I had turned them into a vegetable platter. Melissa is here. She's one of your terrorists that you need to know the name of. And there was a bomb that came out either from a door or a crawl space in the hall just a minute ago. So possibly popped out from the beams onto the floor. That's not unusual, it's called mining. And then the thing was muttering and threatening. It's a male mental patient. Guaranteed mental patient. Hi, this is Lisa Guthrie, 505 Northeast 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98115. And this will be my camera for the evening. And this is a hot spot. People climb up from a dark green area of the building. And everybody in Washington is cannibal zombie. There is nobody normal, and you won't hear anybody normal or nice in Washington. They're all gone. They're all cannibal gang member zombies. And I was just discussing one of the cannibal zombie belief system, or what they pretend to believe, that they're hallucinatory. But they tend to believe that if people that are on the genocide list eat, that there won't be any food for they themselves or their friends. They like to preach there's no food left, and I'll tell you, they are cannibal zombies. And over the last quite a few years, when people tell you there's no food, well, guess what? I've seen a lot of food going to waste. That was beans, tuna fish, other fish in a can, and what else? Beans. Oh, and there's a whore yapping in 207. She's cocking a gun, by the way, playing control you. And remember, it's a whore in 207. She's just a bum. She doesn't have a right to control anyone. She's guaranteed to be a moron. That's what's left after the decimations. Just moron. Ugly moron. They are cannibal zombies. They are freaks. They're nobody that you would want or like. So yeah, there's a whore cocking a gun in 207. Officer Rob Howard, the terrorist, is here. And I think the whore is Rob Howard's family member. This is popular in Washington. The retarded cops will call everyone a cop. So retarded hookers hiding in a wall or a crawl space or kicking down your door, they all believe they're cops. She's guaranteed to be a mongoloid. And it's possibly Rob Howard's sister. And he needs your help getting committed and arrested, and so does she. He's from the North Precinct. You can find him easily enough on the internet. And I'm going to turn down the TV because I don't want any copyright. Oh, and by the way, you might think, oh, gee, you're talking about someone cocking a gun. Well, you know, it doesn't do any good to get hysterical. But I like to be loud, so none of these bums have any kind of privacy. Including shit-ass morons that are the relatives of shit-ass moron cops. Am I going to listen to a dirty hooker? No. She's guaranteed stinky bitch. Retarded. And anything related to him is a guaranteed stinky moron. So this address again, in case anything happens, 505 Northeast 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98115. The relative of Officer Rob Howard is guaranteed to be a rapist, a moron, a child molester, a slaver, a torturer, in on the illegal organs trade. She is a cannibal zombies. And a moron in the 207 is also playing You're Going on a Ride, so he's just made a kidnapping threat with a cop sister. Seattle Police Department. And they have threatened to shoot me through the wall at times. And by the way, my grotesque sister and brother, Don Blackmer, actually, and her husband, Larry Blackmer, and my brother, Michael Tudhope, have fixed up crime scenes for dirty cops and vice versa. There is a whore here that is a hillbilly cousin. Her name is Carla, formerly Logston. I don't know the whore's married names. She's been married twice and she's a crack hoe. These are all cannibal zombie gang members, including my grotesque family. Carla is hanging out apparently in the closet area. And she's a stinky whore. She looks like a crack whore. She also looks like a sea monster. She's ugly, she's retarded, and she's repulsive. She's got kind of a dark complexion. I saw her, she's probably darker from crack. I heard crack makes you dark. And she'd been in the sun. She was a stinky crack hoe at the bus stop trying to menace me. We're estranged. We have been estranged for over, get this, over 30 years. Can you imagine? And then this stinky, ugly thing is trying to play cousin and sneaking around. It's a stinky bitch. I think I'll have my avocado. And I'm going to superarm my alarm. Why? Because when I eat, there will be more thudding, which indicates break an attempt. Including, I'm not kidding you, through the floor. And remember, stinky, creepy relatives are here, including Melissa Oops. And, yes, the phone was hurled to the floor. And we won't talk about that. It's not that type of show. Remember, these are devil worshippers here. So I need to pray before I eat anyway. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil, for that is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil, for that is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Am I going to listen to any stinky hookers? No. Melissa is here. Jay Logston is here. These are all cannibal zombie morons. There's nobody. Nobody left. They reek of blood. They reek of stinking human flesh that has rotted, as well as animal flesh. They reek of the grave. Even their mouths reek of dead flesh. Sometimes they'll even cook rotten flesh. Oh, there's a big fat hoe here. Her name is Leona. Big fat ass, black Nazi. Her name is Leona. She looks like a Bigfoot. She is here. There's a bum playing We May Have a Finger. And so he's chanting about a finger. I'm threatened constantly for blood, guts, and fingers. So let's kind of put that in an order that is better English. So I'm threatened for my blood. I'm threatened with mutilation, rape, torture, murder, and illegal procedures, including amputations and organ removal. It is not uncommon, including by my grotesque, hideous, they are all estranged, hideous, grotesque family members. Apparently, my sister has been a secret black Nazi for many years. She's at least a quarter black, possibly more, and I am probably an eighth or a quarter. And these are cannibal zombie Satanists. So what am I going to eat, by the way? I'm going to eat some salmon. Yes, it's quite redolent. And I thought I had my garlic. Garlic sounds good, but I don't know where I put it. Oh, there you are. Hello, garlic. I think I'll nibble on some garlic. Garlic. Here for your garlic. Give it to me now. Oh, start from the floor. That's okay. I'm going to touch most of the items after they've landed on this floor. I don't wash the floor, except when there's an inspection. Why? Because my boots get dirty. I sweep. And I did wash the floor a couple weeks ago, but my main goal in the morning is just getting the hell up. And I spend my money on other things. What? Cheap phones. Why? So I can have some, safety, which, by the way, the cannibal zombie things, including my family members, they will try to remove. Why? Because that is a way to kill a victim, and it has been done to white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans for years. Well, I keep smearing salmon juice on my head even by touching my hair. There's a bum chanting, Lisa blah 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 blah. So they're morons and they chant moronically. Let's put it that way. You're not going to want to listen to cannibal zombie morons very long. It sounds like possessed jackals. Possessed, rabid, satanic jackals in a movie. There's nobody left. Scare yourselves. Look in the mirror and frighten yourself. Start to scream. That's what I would do. Scream in horror. Nobody wants you. Nobody likes you. Who am I talking to? Well, any gang members, zombie things are surrounding me. And yes, I'm going to have my salmon and an avocado. I can, sometimes I can't stand fish over and over. And so I won't eat it for a couple of days and start falling asleep everywhere. And I find a lot of nosebleeds. I am a sickly person. So I am going to need some. And I'm going to have some wasabi on here. I think I need it now. Wasabi. Oh, and by the way, the bums also like to play another satanic component of the game. And they like to pretend that they're sacrificing animals because you did something, or people. And remember, you don't want to fall for that crap, just call the police. Why? Well, they're going to sacrifice them regardless. You can't save them by starving yourself, basically. So don't fall for it. So you can, and do you really think you can trust anyone who sacrifices animals? There's a bum playing here to leave your door ajar, and it's an ugly bum. Nobody's going to listen to you, and you will be committed and arrested or shot by a SWAT team. You're an ugly. You're guaranteed to be an ugly moron. It's an ugly, Nazi moron. And they just threatened a bullet. And the retardo goes to Wallingford Food Bank. He's not impossible to find. Ugly moron. That's all that's left in Washington. Oh. Horse running. Ooh. Woo. I'm eating horseradish. There's a bum talking about skinning me. He's located below in the green areas. And the ugly black Nazi informed me that I'm going to be letting him in. He's an ugly retardo. They're your quintessential boogeymen. Whether it's my relative or a bum playing relative, they're boogeymen. Nobody would want them. It's guaranteed to be moron level. So I'm eating my avocado. And so one of the whores is saying, good laboratory. These retardos have tried to legitimize what they're doing. And they will call cannibal zombieism and torturing people, including debilitating them, laboratory. And the whore's cocking a gun. And I had to move by the window because it stinks. It's Carla Logston, and she's eating a person in the wall, believe it or not. That's her old name, and I had to move to the window, and I have to cover up the food. Why? Because it smells like blood. And guess what else it smells like? In 207, it smells like semen. And these cannibal zombies and psychopaths think that they are actually consecrated. Remember, they're mentally ill lunatics. They're retarded people. I'm going to turn on the exhaust fan. It does reduce the hearing. And I'm spraying toilet deodorizer because of the stench. I call it toilet deodorizer. And they're talking about shooting. And they were hiding in a closet crawl space. And remember, Officer Rob Howard of the Seattle Police Department was boasted about being here, along with his ugly, retarded sister. She's guaranteed retard, guaranteed ugly bitch. Guaranteed. And I had to cover up the food because of the stench, remember that, of the blood and guts, and a whore bragging that she is eating people, including to play good laboratory. So remember, when a cannibal zombie plays laboratory, guinea pig, yada yada, it's never legitimate. And yeah, the phone just fell down. And the retarded black Nazi, I'll make sure that we all get shot by a SWAT team before I come out.